Welcome to the GaDOE community and our very first webinar. My name is Mary Mullins and I am your Elementary Art PLC moderator. Today's webinar allows you to get to know me a little better, and over time I look forward to getting to know you all. I love children and art is my passion, so it only made sense for me to combine them for my career. I attended Young Harris College and graduated from Kennesaw State University with my art education degree. This is my 17th year teaching elementary art in Metro Atlanta. I taught for 4 years prior to starting my family and decided to take some time off after the premature birth of my twins in 1999. Well, that turned into 9 years staying home and having another child. During that 9-year span, I started a mural painting business to give me an outlet for my creativity, a little break from my day-to-day responsibilities, as well as some spending money. I served as a volunteer board member at our local hospital for the neonatal intensive care unit, which is where my twins spent the first month and a half of their lives. I volunteered weekly at my kids' elementary school and was and still am the vacation Bible school director at my church. My husband Tommy and I just celebrated our 24th wedding anniversary. He and I have literally known each other our entire lives. Our parents were friends before we were even born. The joke is that we had a prearranged marriage, but honestly, we didn't go to the same school and were not high school sweethearts, but we were friends growing up. We started dating during our college years and are truly like two peas in a pod. He's currently the Chief Revenue Officer of a local communications company and serves as a minister of music at my church. Tommy is funny, smart, and has an amazing voice. We love to travel, and we're big Atlanta Braves fans. It's crazy how time flies. Our twins are now 21. Tori is a junior at the University of North Georgia at the Dahlonega campus. She's majoring in psychology. Tyson works full-time at my husband's company, and our youngest daughter, Marley, is 15 years old, and she's a high school sophomore. We have 2 cats. Their names are Luna and Oreo, but we refer to them as Big Cat and Little Cat. And we have the sweetest Shih Tzu. His name is Benny. In my free time, I enjoy spending time with my family, cooking, taking lots of naps, shopping, and just being creative. I'm a bit ADHD, and I tend to learn a craft, completely obsess about it, and then get bored with it and just move on to something else. Thank goodness I have a very supportive husband with the amount of money and time I spend on my arts and crafts. I like to make jewelry off and on. These are some examples I've created. They're actually real hammered coins that have been custom stamped with names. Transfer designs have been applied, and I finished them off with antique ink. One thing I've learned in my 50 years of life is you can do anything that you put your mind to. During the pandemic, I started obsessing about wanting a barn door for my bathroom. After doing some online shopping and seeing how high the prices were, my husband said it was not in our budget. I mentioned I could maybe try to make us one, and he basically laughed and doubted I could do it and said, "Honey, we don't even own a saw." Well, because I'm a bit stubborn and strong-willed, I took that as a challenge. With a trip to my local hardware store and some YouTube videos, I was able to create my first wood project. As you can see, it's the barn door. You know what they say, go big or go home. I really enjoyed learning how to work with wood, and it led to many more wood projects. It definitely takes patience, creativity, elbow grease, and some math skills, but I can certainly see myself continuing this when I have the extra time. Growing up, we did not have art or music in our elementary school. The classroom teachers were expected to teach everything except physical education. I'll be honest, I was not a good student. I had trouble focusing and sitting still. I'm the youngest of 3 and had many of the same teachers that my brother and sister had. And they were always the teacher's favorite because they were smart and quiet. And it didn't hurt that my parents were both active in the PTA. I got the same basic greeting every year on the first day of school. Oh, I'm so excited to have another Lions in my class. That's my maiden name. Teachers were quickly disappointed and decided that they did not like me. I think my parents and teachers assumed I was immature and not putting forth effort. Depending on the teacher, I'd be placed in the corner, in the back of the room, and for some years, I was actually in the hallway within my desk. I had time out during recess, and kids generally just didn't speak to me. I did not like to read at all. It was actually pure torture. I would read the same sentence or two over and over and not remember or comprehend what I read. It wasn't until I had my own children that I realized I have mild dyslexia, as well as attention deficit disorder. My son was diagnosed with dyslexia and ADD in the second grade, and this was truly an aha moment for me personally. I was starving for attention and really didn't fit in. I felt like teachers gave up on me and never gave me a chance to redeem myself. At some point, I took on the role of class clown in order to get some form of attention. At least the students gave me attention and laughed, which was worth the trouble I would get in. I joke I had a frequent flyer pass to the front office, but thank goodness my principal liked me and he thought I was funny too. Once I got to middle school, I found art class and an amazing art teacher. We instantly connected. She saw something in me that I had never seen before. It was potential. She gave me a reason to be excited about school. I finally enjoyed going to school and admired a teacher and figured out I was actually good at something after feeling like such a failure for so many years. Unfortunately, I failed the sixth grade, and she never made me feel bad about it. My parents sent me to summer school and tutoring in order for me to advance to the next grade level. She decided to motivate me to put forth more effort by inviting me to come to school early in the mornings to help her set up a room, but only if my grades stayed up. She would check my work to make sure I was doing what I was supposed to be. Her act of kindness meant so much to me, and it actually worked. Miss Scarborough made me feel like I belonged. I really didn't want middle school to end. As luck would have it, her best friend was my high school art teacher. She assured me that I was going to be fine and connect with my new teacher, and that she had already told her all about me. My high school art teacher did not disappoint. She was amazing, and we immediately had a strong bond. I took every possible class I could with her. She even created advanced classes for me to be off to the side and working by myself. I spent all my free time in her room. When it came time to think about college, she asked me what my plans were. I told her I have no desire to go to college because I can barely survive in my core classes in high school. She spoke with my parents and they decided to challenge me to go to college for 2 years. She told me about the college that she attended called Young Harris. Miss Wieringo actually planned a trip for the two of us to do a college visit there, and I loved it. If it were not for these two amazing art teachers, I don't know where I would be today. Obviously, I became an art teacher because of both of them. The good and the bad treatment I received growing up has shaped me into who I am today. Please give those annoying kids that tend to act out in your class a chance. It's quite possible they have a hidden talent that you can uncover with a little kindness, patience, and empathy. I feel like the art room should be a safe place for children to feel loved, wanted, and valued. I'm now in my 13th year at my current school, and I teach in the same district that my husband and I both grew up in. It's actually the elementary school that my husband and kids all attended, which I think is pretty cool. I enjoy teaching the children of the people we grew up with, as well as relatives and church members. Since we are currently in the middle of a pandemic, our district is using the hybrid model where I teach, just like many of you, teaching both virtual and face-to-face students simultaneously. This year, our district has moved to all virtual, back to hybrid several times. It truly keeps me on my toes to expect the unexpected at any moment's notice. It has certainly been one of the most challenging and trying years of my teaching experience, but I've learned a lot through trial and error, and we'll actually cover this topic in another webinar. Currently, I have 1,100 students with 75% face-to-face and 25% full virtual. I lovingly refer to them as my roomers and zoomers. My student body contains a diverse mix of racial, religious, and economic classes. I love the fact that we have such a variety of students and colleagues. It's a true reflection of Metro Atlanta and allows students to see others that look like them. I make the practice of learning my student's name. It takes time, effort, and patience, but the reward is great. I believe it builds respect, rapport, and shows students that you truly care about them. This in return builds a sense of community, and I believe that students perform and behave better because of this. I am one of the lead art teachers in my district and serve as a mentor for new art teachers. I never in a million years pictured myself as teacher leader and was shocked and honored to be named 2018 GAEA's Elementary Art Teacher of the Year. If I can achieve something like that, just imagine what you can do. At this point in my career, I've led many local trainings and professional development workshops in my area as well as the state level. I enjoy hosting a weekly Zoom meeting with other art teachers in my area where we share ideas, collaborate, problem solve, and support each other. It's very important that you find someone that is like-minded, like you, so you can talk to them since we are so specialized at what we do. Speaking of like-minded professionals, I highly recommend that you join the Georgia Art Educators Association. If you join the National Art Education Association, you automatically become a member of the GAEA. I only joined about 6 years ago, and it was truly one of the pivoting moments of my career. This is a professional organization of art educators with its mission to advocate for the highest quality visual arts education and provide for the advancement of knowledge through service, leadership, and research. My favorite part of being a member is going to the conferences. I've met some amazing people and learned a lot of teaching strategies by attending. Visiting parts of Georgia as well as the United States are also great conferences. One way I've been able to teach art is through technology. I love technology and how incorporating it into my lessons enhances student learning and engagement. Technology is a great way for students to make connections and be inspired in innovative ways. The students truly seem to be learning on a higher level and are eager to discover. With lots of fundraising, I was able to purchase iPads a few years ago. My students normally all have access with my one-to-one device classroom. Unfortunately, due to the pandemic, I've had to back off the iPads temporarily to keep an even playing field for my student body with it being a hybrid mix. I'm an Apple certified teacher, certified Microsoft Innovative Educator, and a local PBS innovator. I was part of the Georgia Department of Education standard writing team to add media arts to the Georgia public school offering. This is truly a passion of mine, and I enjoy assisting my colleagues with integrating technology into their classrooms. I am constantly researching and testing out apps for my students and myself to use. Twitter has been a game changer for apps and connections with other art educators. There are literally thousands of great educational resources and like-minded teachers who have helped me incorporate innovative approaches when it comes to teaching art. After attending several national art teacher conferences, Twitter is how I keep in touch with art teachers across the United States. If you're on Twitter, use the hashtag ArtsEdGA when posting. Our awesome superintendent, Richard Wood, he actually follows what we're doing when we post with this hashtag. He is truly one of our biggest art supporters. Did you know that the Georgia Department of Ed has some very helpful resources? I assisted in designing and writing the second grade visual arts instructional resources. They align with the Georgia Visual Arts Standards of Excellence. These resources, including a curriculum mat, unit plans, lesson plans, vocabulary, examples, rubrics, PowerPoints, and video tutorials, as well as the Georgia Standards of Excellence can be found on the Georgia Department of Ed website, as well as this Georgia GaDOE Community under the Documents tab. Moving on to my program highlights. These are the ones involving technology. A couple of my parents saw that PBS picks teachers that are digital innovators. They encouraged me to apply. Not only does PBS recognize the teacher-savvy educator, but they also train the teacher to share strategies around digital integration. I was excited when PBS chose me to be a local innovator and when Georgia Public Broadcasting invited me to be a guest blogger to discuss technology integration. A few years ago, I was invited to be a Seesaw webinar guest to discuss Seesaw in the specialist classroom for their professional development called PD in Your PJs. I will be discussing Seesaw in another webinar of yours. It's no secret that I love apps. The ones you are reviewing all offer a free version. Being on Twitter and tagging companies when posting will certainly get you noticed. The above companies have all reached out to me, whether it's for beta testing, being an ambassador, or just looking for advice in shaping their app. The Wonderbox was the most fun to work with. I zoomed in with them on multiple occasions, and they truly took my ideas and advice and ran with it. After working with them, they were purchased by the Khan Academy, and the app is now called Wizard School. They also happen to have one of my drawing tutorials featured on their app. The Morphe app creator and I have actually met twice at the National Art Teachers Conference, once in New York and the other in Seattle. She is always trying to find new ways to add to her app and make it more user-friendly for our students. Consider writing a grant. They're great if you need funding for a specific item in your class. I wanted to add a hands-on way for my students to create their own video game characters and have them come to life. I wrote a grant and was pleasantly surprised when they knocked on my classroom door with a giant check. These are a few of my program highlights involving my community. A few years ago, we celebrated World Peace Day by making pinwheels for peace. All of my students designed a pinwheel with patterns on one side and words of peace and harmony on the other. The idea was that as it whirls in the wind, the kind words are expelled into the air. It just so happened that World Peace Day fell on the same day our town was having a big community food truck event. The city gave us permission to install the pinwheels as a visual public statement for 24 hours. I invited my families to come assist with placing them in the ground. It was such a hit that the newspaper and the media both did a piece on it. If you would like more information to do something like this, if you Google Pinwheels for Peace, you can find their website with all the information as well as templates and directions. This is a great way to promote community and cultural awareness. My second graders made bears from brown grocery bags that the local store donated. We treated them like Build-A-Bear by designing them, stuffing them, and adding a heart. They also created a birth certificate. When they were finished, the local grocery store proudly displayed them. It was a fun way to get our art program noticed in the community. Several years ago, my fifth graders did a service project called Houses of Hope. The basis was for my students to create art that can make a difference in the lives of others. They created lapel pins in the shape of a house. We sold them in our community for $5 a piece, and we raised over $1,000. My students submitted ideas of local nonprofits that we would like to help, and essentially voted to help children that were in the DFACS waiting to be placed in a home. The money was used to purchase basic needs from a wish list for the children in this orphan-style home. It was truly eye-opening for me and many of the students, and honestly made them appreciate what they have. I'm not sure if you've heard of the Kindness Rocks project, but it's a fun and impactful on your students as well as community. The idea behind these rocks is that you paint them and place them in locations in your community for others to find them as random acts of kindness. Once somebody finds one, they can keep it or hide it for someone else to find. I had the grand idea that every student at my school would create one and we would hide them all in our community. It was a lot of work. Most students gladly let them be a gift. I established a community art show that hosts 20 local schools, ranging from kindergarten through high school, at our local community center. The idea was for students and our community to see what we are doing creatively in our schools. I invited local professional artists to display their works as well and speak to the students about careers. This was a great way for our schools to collaborate vertically as well as bring awareness to our programs. It was a hit, and we've done it now 4 years in a row. In closing, remember the reason why you became an educator. Focus on the positive. You will have people that try to take advantage of your skills, your supplies, as well as your precious time. Learn to say no. Do what brings you joy. It will make you a better person, and in turn, you will be fulfilled.